गोपाल को कृष्ण कीर्तन गान नर्तन परो प्रेमामृताम्बनिधि तत्त्वातो नमसे समण्डलपति शनि सदा तू
श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे राम राम हरे हरे Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Chant and be happy.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada, and welcome everyone that's coming to the Sunday morning reading and discussions on Prabhupada's instructions to us in terms of practicing Krishna consciousness. And that seems to be a predominant theme with all the devotees from around the world, that Prabhupada is the source of this opportunity. And let me go forward here. I wanted to go back first for a second, Ram Raghava, to I see you've got the screen prepared for the class there. I wanted to go back to a section yesterday which I thought was very important for us to meditate on. And it's it was the last section before the current reading that we're going to do. Prabhupada said, a sound chamber may be called, so with that dry squash he made the sound chamber. The bamboo he fixed up and the wire upon it, and then it became a tin, laughs. And then he goes, our organization is like that. I was loitering in the street. Oh, thank you. I was loitering in the street. Somebody was over there. Somebody was there. Not combined together. The International Society of String Band, yes, separately. We are all useless. So teamwork is dream work. Teamwork makes dreams work. And the more we recognize that principle in life, the more successful we will be in whatever we do, especially for Krishna. And Prabhupada explained that to me in Toronto when I was there with him, that we had got a beautiful temple, a very big building. It's worth over $40 million now, Ram Raghava. It's not a small thing. It was in the past that it evolved. We did not see into the future, no. But Prabhupada could see the future. He was very well fixed on Trikalagya, the three facets of time, past, present, future. He could see into the future. By his, not only with his transcendental vision, but with his past experience, especially dealing with the Gaudiya Math. Especially that. And for many years, he was isolated by his godbrothers because they failed to recognize his special role in spreading the mission of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So he was familiar with people that don't work together. And he says it here, separately we are all useless. And in due course of time, everything is revealed. So this is a lesson that I want all of us to understand here. We're in a transition because the world is in a state of change. It's going on from this to that. What do we have here? To everyone. Okay. We're in a stage of transition through the material body, through material, and everything is in change. Your relationships are in change. Your money is in change. It may be pennies. The material, your health is in change. And we have to learn how to deal with change with intelligence. You know, myself, at the age that I am, I've gone through many changes. And I look back at them, I go, my God, so many different circumstances in my life. And what is the answer to these changes? Stay steady. Just stay steady, stay calm, stay fixed on your association with the like-minded people that you're with, and take shelter of Prabhupada's instructions. If you don't, you're lost. You're lost in the ocean of material confusion. Prabhupada called it yesterday phantasmagoria. And we're going to go forward here. We're going to try to move quickly forward here. I get so many messages every day from devotees around the world congratulating us in our efforts to protect Prabhupada's mission through his Vani incarnation, the sound vibration. So it's not us speaking. We're simply representing Prabhupada in his teachings for everyone. And having been a temple president in ISKCON for many years, I'm drawing back on my experience with people in Toronto especially, where I was focused, and realizing that this is a constant job of working with people and maintaining the momentum that we gather in terms of our efforts to serve Prabhupada mission and Lord Chaitanya's mission. And before we read this section, Ram Raghava, about Samati Maharaji, I was thinking about this morning as I was sending out the message. And I've told you before, Prabhu, that I had a private darshan, let's say, with her in Bombay. So I started to think about it, why that happened. And the fact of the matter was, I was in Bombay at the, I believe it was the ribbon cutting for the Bombay Temple before it was constructed. And I had gone there, it was either 74 or 75. I don't recall, I wasn't keeping a diary back then. But I recalled being there, standing at the front gate, and Prabhupada was there with a large group of devotees. And we had been told to go to Bombay from Delhi, from Vrindavan, to attend this inauguration, ribbon cutting. And I remember standing there, seeing Prabhupada poised in this opening ceremony. Now, when we were in Bombay, it was very meager accommodations. Very meager. And that, in other words, I recall we had no place to sleep when we got to, there was no residence there. There was no hotel like there is now. It was us under tents. There was no place to really bathe. But it didn't matter to us, no. Like soldiers, we were Prabhupada's soldiers. We were there simply to carry out the orders of the spiritual master as we understood them. Very austere. Now someone could say, well, big deal. Well, it isn't a big deal, but at the time it was significant. It was difficult, very difficult. And we were standing there in front of the gate at this ceremony, and I remember feeling very alone in my own mind back then. That's what I recall. Very isolated. Despite the fact that we were there, I was just somehow or other pondering how alone I was in India, a vast country of billions of people. And all of a sudden, a person came up to me, and he was the representative of Sumati Maharajji. I was like, whoa. I'm a nobody, no possessions, had nothing. I had a dhoti on and a small bag with a few items in it back then. I wish I was there then, or there like that now, because look at what happens to your life, Ram Raghava. You get involved with everything, and you have this huge amount of possessions as you move along in life. You get all these things. So, at any rate, what happened was he asked me to come and have a meeting with her at her mansion on Juhu Beach. Why me? Why did Sumati Maharajji ask me to go see her at her mansion in Juhu Beach? And that's not a small thing, by the way. Prabhupada refers to it in this letter that we're going to read, that she was one of the richest women in India. And Vishwakarma Das, you know how much money I had? Nothing. I had no money, no bank account. But at the same time, she asked me, Mr. Zero, I wasn't zero in terms of spiritual life, but zero in terms of material possessions, to come and see her. And I went there by myself, again, Mr. Alone. I was a brahmachari at the time. Mr. Alone went there. I can remember walking along the beach there and seeing her mansion. And went in, And they greeted me at the door. They were very polite, very kind to me. And I had to wait in the outside area. And then I was invited to come into the area and sit with her because she wanted to ask me questions. Now the question is, why did she want to ask me questions? And the answer was, she was interviewing me to see what kind of disciples Prabhupada had attracted to him while he was in the West. Remember, there's a whole history with her. You know, her giving him the ticket, predicting that he might die, all those types of things that went on. So it was very interesting, the questions. I don't recall the questions. I think she was asking me philosophy, because that's basically how you can understand a person, is when they speak. When they speak, they reveal themselves. And she went through the interview with me, and I left. So it was a very sublime pastime that Krishna and Prabhupada arranged for me to meet with her. And this particular section of the diary is a indication of how Prabhupada was preaching to her back then. And we'll go to the interview. The following letter is to Sumati Mararji, who gave Srila Prabhupada free passage, oh look at that, to New York on the Jaladuta. New York, October 27th, 1965. Madame Sumati Mararji Baishe Heba. Please accept my greetings. I'm very glad to acknowledge receipt of your letter dated the 9th instant and have noted the contents. Since I have landed in USA, I have improved in my health, and I'm very glad to see that in America practically everything is available for our Indian vegetarian dishes. So he's giving a total explanation to her of how he's progressing on his journey, because it was predicted he could die or probably fail. He was only there for 1 month, according to the legal requirements to stay in America. By the grace of Lord Krishna, the American are prosperous in every respect, and they are not poverty-stricken like the Indians. The people in general are satisfied so that their material needs are concerned, and they are spiritually inclined. When I was in Butler, Pennsylvania, about 500 miles from New York City, I saw there were many churches and they were attending regularly. This shows that they are spiritually inclined. And I was thinking about that here in Hamilton. There's a street in Hamilton called Barton Street. They have like 30 churches on one street. 30. And in Montreal, if you go there, there are all kinds of churches. Unfortunately, they're all shutting down. I was also involved by some churches, church-governed schools and colleges. I spoke there, and they appreciated and presented me some token rewards when I was speaking to the students. They were very much eagerly hearing me about the principles of Srimad Bhagavatam. Rather, the clergymen were cautious to allow the students to hear me so patiently. That happened to me as well. I went out to preach at churches, and the priests and ministers were very reluctant to let me explain the philosophy. They thought that the students may not be converted into Hindu ideas as it is quite natural for any religious sectarianism. But they do not know that the devotional service of the Lord, Sri Krishna, is the common religion for everyone, including the Aborigines and the cannibals in the jungles. As far as I have studied the American people, they are very much eager to learn about the Indian way, spiritual realization, and there are so many so-called yoga ashrams in America. Unfortunately, they are not very much adored by the government, and it is heard that such yoga ashrams have exploited the innocent people, as has been the case in India as also exploited. The only hope is that they are spiritually inclined, and immense benefit can be done to them if the cult of Srimad Bhagavatam is preached here. Cult means a group of people with a system of belief, not the pejorative term cult like Ted Patrick or Jim Jones. The American public also give reception to the Indian art and music. So many of them come, and every one of them is given good reception. Recently, one dancer from Madras came here, Bala Saraswati, and just to see the mode of reception, I went to see the dance with a friend. For the last 40 years, I've never attended such a dance ceremony. The dancer was successful in her demonstration. The music was in Indian classical tune, mostly in Sanskrit language. And the American public appreciated them. So just see Prabhupada, how he's explaining himself, especially adapting to the Western world and preaching. We have to learn how to adapt to time and circumstance, not be rigid or fanatical in how we look at things. The music was in Indian classical tune, mostly in Sanskrit language, and the American public appreciated them. So I was encouraged to see the favorable circumstances about my future preaching work. The Bhagavat cult is preached also through the art of music and in dance, as it was done by Lord Chaitanya. I'm just thinking of introducing the very same system for my Bhagavatam preaching, but I have no means. The Christian missionary people are backed by huge resources, and they preach the Christian cult all over the world. Similarly, the devotees of Lord Krishna may also combine together to start the mission of preaching Bhagavat cult all over the world. It is not for serving any political purpose, no. But it is necessary to preach the cult for saving the people in general from the dangerous tendency of godlessness. The Christian cult or any other cult cannot save the people from being under the clutches of the growing communism, but the Bhagavatam cult can save them because of its philosophical and scientific approach. Here, just one point. Just see how detailed these letters are. And we've got a section later, we're going to read the letters of Prabhupada. This is the demonstration of how he communicated with people. Communication is key to understanding. No communication, no understanding. No dialogue, no resolution. No articulation of understanding. There is no solution. That silence is not golden. The so-called yogis cannot establish. I do not know what is in the mind of Lord Balkrishna, but I think that your attention to give an impetus to the Bhagavat cult and my humble attempt can serve a great purpose. So he's trying to get her involved. By the grace of Lord, you have a great position in the world, and has learned that you are one of the richest women in the world. But above all, you are a pious lady with great devotion for Lord Balakrishna, and you can do a lot in this connection. By the grace of Lord Balakrishna, you are also free from all family encumbrances. Yeah, he calls it encumbrances. Family is a very entangling environment due to circumstance. And as I have seen, you are in your Pomban house. You live like a sage and a tapaswini. I wish that you may take up the idea of Bhagavatam preaching work a little more seriously. So he's being quite direct to her, Rachisha Devi Dasi. Despite her being one of the richest women in the world, he's telling her the truth. Don't be deluded by material I, me, and minds. What I want that ultimately a society for this purpose may be formed and will be recognized by the government for cultural activity. So many cultural missions come here from India at the expense of the government, and they simply waste the money. But if there's a real cultural mission for preaching the Bhagavatam cult, a great philanthropic work will be done for the human society at large, of the highest welfare work. I'm just giving you the idea. He's trying to plant the seed. And if you kindly think over the matter seriously and consult your beloved Lord Balakrishna, surely you will be further enlightened in the matter. There is scope and there is a necessity also. And it is the duty of every Indian, not only Indian, all human beings, especially the devotees of Lord Krishna, to take up this matter, just like we're taking up the matter of the Vani incarnation of Srila Prabhupada, and we must be serious about it. Otherwise, the winds of time will take us away. I shall be glad to hear from you about my humble suggestions by return of mail. So he's agitating the fire. Yours sincerely, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. Nota bene, I'm very glad to note that the last line of your letter under reply in which you write to say, I feel that if you should stay there till you fully recover from your illness and return only after you've completed your mission. Yes, I wish to stay here for all the days till I've finished the mission of life to preach the Bhagavat cult very rightly, and for this reason only I have suggested the above means and ways. If you kindly cooperate in forming a society for this purpose, with your great influence, surely all Indians will combine, and thus we can fulfill the mission very nicely, declaring the glories of India. Please do it for the Lord's sake. So that is such an amazing letter that we're reading today. And for all of you that have never seen this information, it'll be a great boon for you and for me. I constantly enjoy that. And by the way, just another point, Ram Raghava, we're almost finished this particular volume. Just see how fast it goes. But very illuminating and inspiring for those that are interested in understanding Prabhupada's history as the greatest preacher of Krishna consciousness in the modern times. So we'll go forward with our next section. Ram Raghava, what is the next section of our program?
It's a Srila Prabhupada lecture. It's about 5.5 minutes, and it's called We Cannot Be Anxiety Free Unless We Come to Krishna Consciousness.
Let's roll that. Haribol.
Sri Juta Padakamalang.
So, you cannot become happy. These boys and these girls, American, European, they have tasted all this motor car civilization. They have tasted very nicely. Motor car, night club, and drinking, they have tasted very nicely. There is no happiness. Therefore, they have come to Krishna consciousness. Therefore, na sato vidyati bhava, na bhava vidyati sata. Abhava. And sata. So, we are unhappy on account of our accepting asat, which will not exist. That is the description given by Prahlad Maharaj. Sada samudvigna dhiyam asad graha. Sada samudvigna dhiyam. We are always anxious, full of anxiety. That's a fact. Every one of us, full of anxiety. Why? Asad graha. Because we have accepted this material body. Asad graha. Tatsad manne suravajya dehinam sada samudvigna dhiyam. Dehinam. Dehinam means deha, dehi, we have already discussed. Dehi means the proprietor of the body. So everyone is dehi, either animal or human being or tree or anyone. Every living entity has accepted a material body. Therefore they are called dehi. So dehina, every dehi, because he has accepted this material body, he is always full of anxiety. So we cannot be anxiety-free unless we come to Krishna consciousness. That is not possible. You have to become Krishna conscious, Brahma Bhuta, Prasannatma, immediately you become anxiety-free. If you don't come to the platform of Krishna consciousness, always be full of anxieties. Sada samadvigna dhiyam asad graha hityatma patam grihanda kupam vanangato jad harimasayata. That is Prahlad Maharaj giving us direction that if you want to get relief from this status of anxiety, sada samadvigna dhiyam, then hityatma ghatam griha andakupam. Griha andakupam. Griha means there are so many meanings, especially it is meant home. Home. Homesick. Our Vedic civilization is that they drive away from home, go away from home, to take sannyas, to take a vanaprastha, not to remain up to the last point of death as family member, grandfather did that. That is not our Vedic civilization. As soon as one is little grown up, panchasodham balang brajet, he must get out from this griya andakupam. Griya andakupam, if we discuss, said where it may be very unpalatable. But we have to discuss from Shastra. What is griha? Griha, it is another word, it is called anganasrayam. Angana means woman. To live under the protection of wife. Anganasrayam. So Shastra recommends that you give up this anganasrama to go to the Paramahamsa ashram, then your life will be saved. Otherwise, as Prahlad Maharaj says, grihanda kupam, if you keep yourself always in this dark well of so-called family life, then you will never be happy. Atmaghatam means you will never be able to understand spiritual life. Of course, not always, but generally you are too much attached to family life or extended family life. Extended family life, then society life, then community life, then national life, then international life. They are all grihanda. All grihanda.
Very interesting. Prabhupada refers to this modern world in this short explanation as the motor car civilization, not God conscious civilization, the motor car civilization. And everybody is addicted to the motor car. It's one of the main things that goes on in material life is to move around. Go here, go there, do this, do that. So we can feel important. And people, they look at their car like themselves. They think, oh, this car, this is me. And they're very attached to their car. But this is the illusion of life. The electric car, the motor car, the gas car, everything is a car. Go here, go there, do this, do that, and become important. And Prabhupada here, secondly, talked about Ananda Kupam. You remember that, reading that? Triloka Vijaya, Ananda Kupam. What does that mean? The deep, dark well of family life. Prabhupada spoke, and someone said, well, why did you bring that up? I only bring it up because Prabhupada just did it now in this speech. Ananda Kupam, the deep, dark well of family life. You fall down into the well, it is very hard to get out. And Prabhupada said this, you have a 50% chance of going back to Godhead in that situation. Very difficult. And we all know that. I certainly have experienced that. I'm trying to climb out myself, although I'm not in that situation now anymore. But still, the experiences carries on. And I have children, of course. I have 4 children, 5 grandchildren. So have some experience. But we're praying to the Lord to please relieve us of this attachment to material existence, which binds us to repeated birth and death. And we'll go forward here. Ananda Kupam. Oh my God, eh? The deep, dark well of family life. And we all know what that means. I'm busy. I got to go do something. What? Well, I got to go pick up my son or daughter. You're busy. That's okay. We have duties, but at the same time, we cannot sacrifice our human life, especially when we're older like we are. I am. For anything else except the mission of Lord Chaitanya and Srila Prabhupada. So we'll go to that. Ram Raghava, I see in the note that we're going to drop the Prabhupada letter today for time's sake. And we'll move forward with the Bhagavatam now. So if you would bring up the Bhagavatam, we'll read the verse, the purport. I'll give a brief explanation. I've been explaining things already today, so we're moving along like that. But go ahead. Hare Krishna.
The letter would have been after the Bhagavatam class anyway, but I'll start with the Jai Radha Madhava.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jaya Radha Madhava Punya Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava
जय नितिलीला प्रविष्टोम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शत श्री श्रीमद His Divine Grace AC Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada की जय।
जय स्वात्मराजगचार्य सदस्यमान भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती गोस्वामी प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय। नामाचार्य श्री हरिदास ठाकुर की जय। प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद से अद्वैत गदाधर शिवास आदि गौर भक्तवृंद की जय। श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गो गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरिवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन धाम की जय। नवद्वीप धाम की जय। स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जय। गंगा माई की जय। जमुना माई की जय। तुलसी देवी की जय। भक्ति देवी की जय। स्वामी तो भक्तवृंद की जय। All glories to the assembled Lord. All glories to the assembled Lord. Thank you very much.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya। Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya। Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya। O my Lord Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Narayanang namaskritya narang chaiva narottamam deving saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udirayet yad anudhyasina yuktaha karma granthi nibandanam chindanti ko vidastasya ko na kuryat katharatim शुश्रूषुः श्रद्दधानस्य वासुदेव कथारुचिः स्यान्महत्सेवया विप्रः पुण्यतीर्थनिषेवनात् शृण्वतां स्वकथा कृष्णः पुण्यश्रवणकीर्तनः हृदयन्तःस्थो हयभद्राणि विदुनोति सुहृत्सताम् नष्टप्रायेष्वभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्योत्तमश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी तदा रजस्तमो भावः कामलोभादयश्चये चेत इतैरनाविद्धं स्थितं सत्त्वे प्रसीदति एवं प्रसन्नमनसो भगवद्भक्तियोगतः भगवत्तत्त्वविज्ञानं मुक्तसङ्गस्य जायते भिद्यते हृदयग्रन्थिश्छिद्यन्ते सर्वसंशयः क्षीयन्ते चास्य कर्माणि दृष्ट एवात्मनीश्वरे। So today we're reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, first canto, 7th chapter, text 41, from the original unadulterated, unedited 1962 edition of the Srimad Bhagavatam, also known as the Delhi Bhagavatam. Text 41. Atha upetya swashibiram govinda priya sarathi nyavedayat tat priyayai sochayanti atmajan hatan. Atha, thereafter, upetya, having reached, swa, own, shibiram, camp, Govinda, one who enlivens the senses, Lord Shri Krishna, Priya, dear, Sarathi, the chariot man, Navedayat, entrusted to, Tat, him, Priyaye, unto the dear, Sochyanti, lamenting for, Atmajan, own sons, Hatan, murdered. Translation. Thereafter, reaching his own camp, Arjuna, along with his dear friend and chariot man, Sri Krishna, entrusted the murderer unto his dear wife, who was lamenting for her murdered sons. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada. Transcendental relation of Arjuna with Krishna is of dearmost friendship. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord has himself claimed Arjuna as the dearmost friend. Every living being is thus related with the Supreme Lord by some sort of affectionate relation, either as servant, or as friend, or as parents, or as an object of conjugal love. Everyone thus can enjoy the company of the Lord in the spiritual realm, if at all anyone desires for this happy relation and sincerely tries for it in the process of the Bhakti Yoga. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhakti Vedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Bhagavad Vandana Khadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Khadetehi Visheshataha Adadana Dantair Idang Yache Punaha Punaha Srimad Rupa Padam Bhoja Dhuli Shyam Janma Janmani Angsho Bhagavato Asmyaham Sadadaso Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pekshako Nityang Tat Prishtasat Karomi Swam Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Haribol. Go ahead, Ram Raga.
Back to you, Vishwakarma Prabhu. I've unmuted your mic.
Okay.
And just one thing, I would like to ask Triloka Vijaya Prabhu, if you could please keep your mic unmuted. I've had to unmute it several times. Appreciate that.
Thank you. Relationship. Yes. How do you develop a relationship with somebody? Well, you have to practice it. Practice relationship. And in the spiritual realm of relationship, it's done through the cultivation of knowledge from the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. This is the method in this particular time and circumstance that we're in. It's called Vani, relationship of sound. And through that hearing process, you can understand the position of Krishna. It's called the descending process of knowledge. It's a revelation based on sound vibration. And the more that we continue to practice this hearing process, the more we'll understand who God is. We've been reading the Krishna book. This is the latest project myself personally I've undertaken, to read it again and again. And the more I study it, the more I begin to realize the amazing position that Krishna is in this creation, and the fortunate position that we are to be his servants. Because that relationship for the conditioned soul that we are striving to develop is a relationship of service. And here Prabhupada's mentioned in this purport, every living being is thus related with the Lord with some sort of affection, relation either as a servant or as a friend or as a parent or as an object of conjugal love. There are relationships that we can establish with the Supreme Lord, despite our fallen condition. And it is possible by one principle. That principle is mercy. That if you get the mercy of the spiritual master and you get the mercy of the Supreme Lord, and how do you invoke this mercy? Prabhupada told me in a meeting with him at the temple in Toronto, he asked me, how is it the book distribution is going on now that you've got this building? I'm paraphrasing. And I told him, Prabhupada, some book distribution has dropped because of the situation of maintaining a building like this. And he said to me, that's okay, but we have to take some difficulty for Krishna. We have to be able to accept some austerity for Krishna. And in this way, you'll be able to get the attention of Krishna. And Prabhupada also commented in a lecture I was listening to. He said, do not try to see Krishna, but try to act in such a way that Krishna will see you. And that's through service and surrender. So when Krishna sees, despite the difficulty or difficulties that you encounter in your life from other living entities, from health conditions, from external conditions, material nature, there's sevenfold miseries. Despite those difficulties, if we always take shelter of Krishna and engage in the service of Krishna with our human facilities, we'll get his mercy. And when you get the mercy of Guru and Krishna, then all the purports of the Vedic literature will be revealed. So it's not a matter of verses. Some people are confused with scholastic achievement. They think, oh, this person knows so many verses. But what is their surrender? Don't act in such a way that you want to see Krishna, but act in such a way, Bhaktisiddhanta said, that Krishna will recognize you. That's an internal process that each individual devotee has to go through, because we are all on our own. Yes, we are. Just like I was mentioning, I felt that loneliness in Bombay at the inauguration ceremony of the Bombay Temple before there was any facility there. I felt completely alone. We can fly our plane above the clouds or below them. Above the clouds means no matter what the difficulty is, we always stay fixed in devotional service. And those people that are weak of heart, weak due to material circumstances, they give up the ship. And lots of people have done that. You see that. Look in terms of the Gaudiya Math, Ram Raghava, and we've been studying about that. Prabhupada was in a situation, he was also isolated by his godbrothers. And he gave us personal instructions how to deal with that based on his own personal experience. So no matter what the difficulty, whether it be a disease or other living entities that you have to deal with, circumstances, whatever those circumstances might be, they're variegated, complex in our own little minds. We're insignificant in this universe. We're trying to get out of this conditioned state of unhappiness. Everyone is suffering. We can do that by taking shelter of the bona fide spiritual master in his Vani incarnation. And that's where you'll get strength. That's a personal thing. Nobody is in this particular environment. No one goes over to your house and checks, are you studying the books? No. Nobody is investigating anybody. It's a personal effort on the part of each individual to decide how they will work together to serve the mission of Srila Prabhupada in association with his disciples. And that is the secret of success. Everyone can thus enjoy the company of the Lord in the spiritual realm. Even within this material world, you can. It's possible. It's just a matter of understanding and accepting the fact. And that is freedom from all misery. There is no freedom from suffering, but the mental, the physical freedom of suffering can be overcome with surrender and service. So with that, we can all think about our own particular struggles and our own efforts to go to become fixed up in the process of Bhakti Yoga. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And we're going to move forward with the Krishna book reading, which is a section that we've added to the program. And we'll read quickly through it. We have a limited schedule today. This narration was presented by Shukadeva Goswami when Maharaj Parikshit was prepared to give up his body fasting on the bank of the Ganges in order to assure Sukadeva Goswami that by hearing Krishna Katha he would not feel tired. Maharaj Parikshit expressed himself very frankly. Hunger and thirst may give trouble to ordinary persons or to me, but the topics of Krishna are so nice that one can continue to hear about them without feeling tired because such hearing situates one in the transcendental position. Very interesting. That's exactly the point. It is understood that one must be fortunate to hear about Krishna Katha seriously, like Maharaj Parikshit. He was especially intent on the subject matter. Why? Because he was expecting death at any moment. Every one of us should be conscious of death at every moment. This life is not at all assured. At any time, one can die. It does not matter whether one is a young man or an old man. So before death takes place, we must be fully Krishna conscious. And we're going to ask our friend Dr. Michael to read the next paragraph. Go ahead, Michael.
Okay, at the point of his death, King Parikshit was hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from Sukadeva Goswami. When King Parikshit expressed his untiring desire to hear about Krishna, Sukadeva Goswami was very pleased. Sukadeva was the greatest of all Bhagavata reciters, and thus he began to speak about Krishna's pastimes, which destroy all inauspiciousness in this age of Kali. Sukadeva Goswami thanked the king for his eagerness to hear about Krishna, and he encouraged him by saying, "My dear king, your intelligence is very keen, because you are so eager to hear about the pastimes of Krishna. He informed Maharaj Pariksit that hearing and chanting of the pastimes of Krishna are so auspicious that the process purifies the three varieties of men involved. He who recites the transcendental topics of Krishna, he who hears such topics, and he who inquires about him. These pastimes are just like the Ganges water which flows from the toe of the Lord Vishnu. They purify the three worlds, the upper, middle, and lower planetary systems. Advent, is that enough?
Well, that we're going to start on Wednesday with the first chapter, the Advent of Lord Krishna. So thank you very much. That was excellent and very pertinent to everything that's being said today. Prabhupada's just combining everything in a simple, succinct manner in a few words, and we appreciate your reading, Michael. Thank you very much. We're going to go ahead with our next section. Now, this section we added because of our affiliation with Siddhanta in Los Angeles. And this particular section, Ram Ravika was going with Sujan and myself. I recently did some memories with Prabhupada for him. So let's go to that section, and then after that, we'll continue on. Haribo. He stayed at a building next door to Gerard Street, 187 Gerard Street. We just lived in a building that we rented, a house. So there was about 50 devotees in that building. It's very austere. And Prabhupada didn't want to stay at the Royal York. Jagadish wanted to book a room for him at the, a five-star hotel in Toronto. Prabhupada refused. And he stayed on Pembroke Street where the drunks and that lived in that street. It was a degraded section of Toronto. And so we would go over, one of the Grihastas left their bachelor apartment, that's all they had, and he stayed there. And we were there in the room, and they were negotiating two buildings at the time, the Detroit Temple and the Toronto Temple. Idea of making an offer to these people. And Prabhupada was very active in the negotiation of both properties. And I remember in the room, he called up Romeshwar and asked Romeshwar how much money he had in the BBT. And the number $300,000 was given to him. And he told Jagadish, go make an offer to the church people. They wanted $450. So Prabhupada was, being an Indian businessman, he was going to lowball them. So he did. Jagadish took the offer to them. And the response that they gave was, they would rather burn the building down than sell it to the Hare Krishna people. Very interesting. And so the whole thing collapsed. It was finished. And he looked at us and he said, how can you buy a building when you have no money? Uttama had not saved any money. So he was dreaming, but he couldn't pay for it. That's, a lot of people are like that. They have big dreams, but they have no money. So they're dreamers. I'm not trying to criticize him, but that was the situation then. So when, after that, he went to Chicago, I was put in as the president. We had worked in Montreal. I was vice president with him there in P9, and then we came back to Toronto. So I was put in as president, and I made a vow then, we're going to get some money. And that's what we did. We raised the down payment. And what happened, the building had been sold to a developer to be torn down to build condominiums. Now this was a historical site. It's not they couldn't get the permission from the city, of course, Prabhu. Because the city has an heritage rules that you can't break. And at the time, I had a lawyer, Hart Pomerantz. He was a famous lawyer in Toronto. He called me up and he said, "Hey, remember that church you tried to buy last year? You know, Krishna made all these arrangements, Prabhu. It wasn't me." And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, guess what? Murray Goldman got denied a permit to tear the church down. And it can't be sold for condos." And so I had saved some money. I think I had about 80 or 90,000 in the bank, which was back then quite a bit of money. And I thought to myself, well, we'll go ahead and try again. And I staged a transcendental trick for the Christians. And back then we started to use wigs, if you recall. The people were using wigs. It was ridiculous. You know, people, I'm not going to talk about it. You know, they were doing everything. Tripurari had introduced all this stuff, and that's all I'm going to say. It was complete madness. But I used a Jimi Hendrix wig because I had met Jimi Hendrix. I thought, okay, I'm going to go with a wig and rework this deal with these people. And they didn't know who I was. I guess now that I think about it, Prabhu, back then long hair was popular. So the guys didn't freak out when they saw me with this fake Jimi Hendrix wig. And long story short, we went ahead with the team. I had a group of people working. We had devotees there, so it was a teamwork. It wasn't just me, it was everybody. And we negotiated a deal for Prabhupada to buy that church. I got the vendor, the church, to take back a first mortgage for $250,000. And then we had our 100,000, 110,000. And then through some people that we were working with, we got a second mortgage from the bank. So we had a vendor take back, we had the down payment, and we had a second mortgage from the Bank of Montreal. And that brought the total purchase price at $450,000. Very detailed story. I've written about it. I explained it to Prabhupada in Vrindavan or Mayapur later that year when I saw him. And he loved it. How we tricked these Christian people to buy the church or from them. We're going to go ahead with our next section, which is, I believe is it a Prabhupada lecture, Prabhu?
No, it's the 10 offenses.
Okay, we're going to do the 10 offenses and then a chant, a round of japa, and then move forward to end up the program today. Thank you, everyone. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Nectar of Devotion, Chapter 8, Offenses to be Avoided. The offenses against the chanting of the holy name are as follows. First, to blaspheme the devotees who have dedicated their lives for propagating the holy name of the Lord. Second, to consider the names of demigods like Lord Shiva or Lord Brahma to be equal to or independent of the name of Lord Vishnu. Sometimes the atheistic class of men take it that any demigod is as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu. But one who is a devotee knows that no demigod, however great he may be, is independently as good as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, if someone thinks that he can chant Kali, Kali or Durga, Durga, and it is the same as Hare Krishna, that is the greatest offense. Third, to disobey the orders of the spiritual master. Fourth, to blaspheme the Vedic literature or literature in pursuance of the Vedic version. Fifth, to consider the glories of chanting Hare Krishna to be imagination. Sixth, to give some interpretation on the holy name of the Lord. Seventh, to commit sinful activities on the strength of the holy name of the Lord. Because by chanting the holy name of the Lord, one can be freed from all kinds of sinful reactions. It should not be taken that one may continue to act sinfully and after that chant Hare Krishna to neutralize his sins. Such a dangerous mentality is very offensive and should be avoided. 8th, to consider the chanting of Hare Krishna as one of the auspicious ritualistic activities which are offered in the Vedas as fruitive activities. Karma Kanda. 9th, to instruct a faithless person about the glories of the holy name. Anyone can take part in chanting the holy name of the Lord, but in the beginning one should not be instructed about the transcendental potency of the Lord. Those who are too sinful cannot appreciate the transcendental glories of the Lord, and therefore it is better not to instruct them in this matter. 10th, to not have complete faith in the chanting of the holy names, and to maintain material attachments, even after understanding so many instructions on this matter. Every devotee who claims to be a Vaishnava must guard against these offenses in order to quickly achieve the desired success.
Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Radha Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram,
Do you want
Hare
to go
Hare.
in the kennel?
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram Ram
Hare Rama,
Ram
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Hare.
Rama Rama,
Hare
Hare
Krishna Krishna Krishna
Krishna,
Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram
Krishna,
Ram
Krishna, Hare
Ram
Hare,
Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Krishna
Rama,
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare
Krishna, Hare
Ram Ram
Hare
Ram
Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama,
Hare.
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Krishna Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare
Hare
Ram
Rama, Hare
Ram
Hare Krishna,
Ram Hare
Krishna,
Hare.
Krishna, Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Krishna 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 Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Ram
Hare Rama, Hare
Ram
Rama,
Ram Hare
Rama,
Hare.
Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Ram
Hare Hare,
Ram
Hare Rama,
Ram
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Hare.
Rama, Rama,
Hare
Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram
Hare
Ram
Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Rama, Rama,
Hare
Rama, Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Ram Ram Hare Hare.
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama, Rama,
Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare
Hare Rama,
Ram
Hare
Ram Hare
Rama,
Hare.
Rama, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Ram Hare Hare. Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Ram Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare, Hare
Rama,
Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare
Hare
Rama, Rama,
Ram
Krishna, Krishna,
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare, Rama,
Hare
Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama, Rama,
Ram Hare Hare. Hare
Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna
Krishna, Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Hare,
Hare
Hare Rama,
Hare,
Hare Rama,
Hare
Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna, Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Hare.
Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Rama, Hare Rama,
Krishna
Rama, Rama,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare, Krishna,
Hare
Krishna, 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 Hare
Hare.
Hare,
Hare Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Hare,
Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Ram
Rama,
Hare Hare.
Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare
Krishna
Krishna, Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna.
Hare Hare, Hare
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare
Ram Hare
Hare,
Hare.
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Hare Krishna, Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama, Hare Rama, Rama,
Ram
Hare
Ram
Hare,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna, Hare Hare.
Krishna
Hare
Hare Hare,
Rama,
Hare
Hare Rama,
Ram Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna
Krishna, Hare Hare.
Krishna Hare Hare,
Hare
Hare
Rama, Hare
Ram
Rama,
Hare
Krishna,
Hare.
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare
Hare Rama, Hare
Ram
Rama,
Hare Hare.
Hare
Hare Krishna
Krishna,
Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare,
Krishna,
Hare
Krishna Krishna,
Ram
Hare Hare.
Hare Hare.
Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna
Hare Hare.
Krishna Hare Hare, Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Ram
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Hare.
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Rama, Hare Rama, Rama
Krishna
Rama,
Hare
Hare Hare.
Hare, Hare
Hare
Ram
Krishna,
Hare
Hare
Hare.
Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Krishna, Hare Hare.
Krishna
Hare Rama,
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Rama,
Hare,
Rama.
Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Chant and be happy.
Let us take
Okay, did you want to ask the question now or do the prayer?
do the prayer first.
Okay, go ahead.
Let us take this opportunity to offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen conditioned souls. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Thank you, everyone, for attending. I'd like to thank all the senior devotees, especially Vishwakarma Prabhu, for organizing this program and having this class. Mataji, Ruchisha Mataji from Montreal, thank you very much. Triloka Vijaya Prabhu in Florida, Anshuman Mishra, wherever he is. Forest Temple from Baja, California. Kevin G, always attending, thank you very much. Meghana Mataji, Michael Dillon for attending and also taking part in the reading of the Krishna book. And we encourage, if somebody wants to volunteer, please let Vishwakarma Prabhu know. Radharani Mataji, Dr. Ronald Singh for everything he does. Roy in Mississippi, and last but not least, Vladimir Martino. Thank you for attending. I also wanted to make an announcement just so that everybody knows. I'm going to be stepping back a little bit because of my parents' medical condition. I need to take a little more time to take care of them. I'm staying at their house and taking care of things, and also I have to work also. My father's condition is not an emergency, but it is an urgency. So he's having a special test done tomorrow morning. As you know, his name is Viprahita Das, and my mother, Rasikeshwari. Also, they're getting quite old, so they have some issues. So I have to take care of that. And then I also wanted to just briefly mention Forrest Temple asked a question during the class. He wanted to know what internet means. And one of the prayers that we read today, Prabhupada mentions the internet of material life. So internet means things that are intertwined together. In other words, our entanglement in the material world due to whatever situations we're in. For instance, I'm in this situation where there's medical issues going on. So internet of material life means things intertwined together that make us entangled in material life. So I'll turn it back over to Vishwakarma Prabhu, and you have a poster you wanted to show.
Well, Ron Singh has introduced a program of book distribution for us, expanded. And I think you have the link, and I'll ask Ron to come on and explain exactly the details of this. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is a set of Prabhupada books. This is 11 books with the daily Srimad Bhagavatam, the Krishna book, the Veda-based library where you can research Srila Prabhupada's original works, letters, conversations, and other things. It's all there in a compendium. It's an offline tool. So many things are there. It's like a treasure. And we have Perfection of Yoga. We have Srila Prabhupada's original audio library where Srila Prabhupada has all the conversations, lectures.
I was just playing the
Yes,
recording.
and then we have the Perfection of Yoga, Raja Vidya, the original 1972 Bhagavad Gita, and Sri Ishopanishad, Science of Self-Realization, Perfect Questions, Perfect Answers, and other books there. It's 11 books and then 2 CDs. There are three volume or 3 CD Prabhupada Audio Library and the 1 CD Prabhupada Database. And it's a very simple way you can get it. You can just click on the link on PayPal, and it's going to take you directly to PayPal, and you just put your credit card information there. I get an email saying that, oh, this person has bought the item, and then I ship it out the next day. So this is a great start for people who are wanting Srila Prabhupada's original books. This also has the daily Srimad Bhagavatam, all the main books of Srila Prabhupada. We also want to introduce more and more readings from these books in the future. So if you like to read, please contact Vishwakarma or myself, and then we'll set up a program where we can have you read on the program. Thank you very much. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Asking price. So hundreds of dollars worth of value here. But by the grace of Ron Singh, he has this collection, and this is a limited opportunity for Christmas to purchase these books and these collectibles and share them with others if you're interested. So it's a very positive program that we're propagating through this medium. And we will carry on expanding and developing as time goes on, because this is an opportunity for all of us to serve the mission of Srila Prabhupada despite all difficulties. So all glories to Srila Prabhupada. And what have we got now, Ram Raghava?
Srila Prabhupada Kirtan to end.
Thank you, everyone. We'll see you on Wednesday, upcoming Wednesday, for our reading and discussion of Vani Incarnation by the Prabhupada Disciples Association. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah, I also wanted to thank Bhakta Ran Singh Prabhu for volunteering. He'll be hosting on Wednesday. He has kindly agreed to host on Wednesday, so I appreciate that.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna.